What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another car review. This is of course the 2017 Rolls-Royce Ghost Black Badge. Huge thanks to Rolls-Royce for providing us with this very sweet black badge to review for you guys today.
Also, huge thanks to the Automotive Video Association for arranging this car and 11 other awesome cars and SUVs for the first ever Automotive Video Awards, which brings 6 of the best car reviewers in video and myself together to decide which is the best performance car and performance SUV of the year.
So, I mean, the Ghost has been around for a few years now, but this black badge is all new, and it's very cool. You know, they noticed that a lot of people were blacking out the Rolls-Royces, so they're like, well, we'll just do it for them and add some additional power and sweeten the package as well, beyond just the black, darker looks that you see here. And this one, of course, is finished in black, but they do come in other colors. But the Ghost still looks so imposing and just so intimidating in some ways, but still just, it's so, everyone just has to look at it. It's it commands your attention, and you know, even though this is the smaller of the Rolls, it still is very big. It's very long, of course, especially in Ghost here for the 4-door version. But there's some really cool touches to it here. You know, you can see the Spirit of Ecstasy has a black chrome kind of finish to it, and there's carbon fiber in the wheels here. It's like over a dozen layers of carbon fiber that are built up into that wheel there, and very cool looking wheels as well, with the double R's that are always upright, which is a cool little Rolls-Royce trick. Coming down to the sides here, you have, you know, your just a long wheelbase. Like I said, although these do not come in an actual long wheelbase version, this is the short wheelbase version, but still long enough. And then out back there, you know, it's again typical Rolls-Royce look, and overall it just looks great from every angle. Right, so the interior of the 2017 Rolls-Royce Ghost Black Badge, well, it is amazing in here, as you would expect from a vehicle of this caliber. I mean, any Rolls-Royce is a wonderful place to be, and this one in particular, you know, these start at $351,000, but most people add 20 to 30% in options on top of them, so this one is $415 as far as its MSRP, so it is just amazingly nice in here, and there's so much to go over. But anyway, first things first, sitting down in these seats, probably the softest driver seats I've ever sat in. They're just so comfortable. Like, it's like, it's even better than your living room sofa. It's just like, I just want to take a nap, and just like, they're so nice. They do have heating and cooling and massage function as well, though the massage only works on your bottom. It's a more basic type of massage, not as advanced as some of the others out there. But, you know, how many people are actually even driving their Ghost? I think, you know, the Ghost is the one that you can drive it yourself or be driven in it. Either way is wonderful. But anyway, yeah, these seats are just fantastic. I mean, the bolstering isn't super crazy, and I mean, this is a little bit more sporty, you know, here for the Black Badge, but it still is, you know, a very comfortable car, you know, and so the bolstering isn't crazy by any means, and feels just about right for this vehicle, though. Next to the steering wheel on the Rolls-Royce Ghost Black Badge, which is really great. You know, it's still a very large Rolls-Royce wheel that is very massive. It just, you can feel that it's big. It has a good 9-3 grip though. No 10-2 notches, but it's just a nice, very nice feeling steering wheel here. Has metal and then piano black buttons here that are all very nice to use, and just a few of them. Very basic still, and overall, it's just a really nice wheel. Next to the gauges here in the Ghost Black Badge, and they are very beautiful, typical, you know, same as all the other Ghosts, but they're beautiful gauges here. I love the kind of glass overlay you have, and they're just awesome to look at. And of course, you don't have a tachometer in Rolls, you have a power reserve percentage instead, and that meter always is at 100% unless you're getting on the gas, and then it will go down from there to show you how much power you have left. Very refined and sophisticated. I love it. You do have a very somewhat basic digital display down there, but again, Rolls-Royces aren't about digital everything. It's just, you know, all the basic classic styling you expect here with Rolls-Royce, and overall looks really good. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, it's again very awesome. First up top here, you have this very wide, large screen that is controlled by this controller, and this is similar to a BMW iDrive system. All the same basic menus. It's just, you know, the coloring is different and the fonts and all that. It looks much nicer and more polished than a BMW iDrive system, but the same mechanics are there. So, you know, everything is about where you would expect it to be. You can do the split screen thing. Everything looks fairly good, you know, with album art and maps and whatnot. It's not, you know, mind-blowing. Again, like I said, not super high-tech, but they do have the technology here for all the stuff that you need to do with it. It doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto or anything like that just yet. You know, so, you know, it's not, again, not super high-tech stuff here, but it's okay because it has the basics and that's all you need. Coming down, you have these little glass buttons here for your presets, which I love. And then coming down further here, you have your climate controls, which is off, soft, medium, high, or max. I love that there's no soft setting as a wonderful term instead of just low. You have soft instead. And then you have another little rocker here for adjusting things manually here with toggles if you'd like, or you can go in and do it through the screen as well for adjusting your climate and whatnot. And you also have your seat controls there. And then, like I said, coming back, you have your iDrive controller, or what they call their Rolls-Royce controller here. And good to have that. It's nicely positioned there. And yeah, so I mean, not a whole lot of stuff to mess with here, but that's the whole point of it, is it's nice and simple. As far as storage space in the Rolls-Royce Ghost Black Badge, it's pretty good, for what you need. I mean, why do you need a ton of storage space in a Rolls anyway? But if you do care, there is a nice map pocket here in the door. No bottle holder, but again, who cares? Then you have 2 cup holders here up front that are a good size. You have this other little space here for basically an ashtray, and then a cigarette lighter there, or power outlet, that's nicely hidden by this cover. Then you have the center armrest, which is covered in this very soft leather. Speaking of the leather though, I mean, the color combo is not for everyone, but the great thing about Rolls-Royce is you can do anything you want. If you pay them enough, you can customize it to exactly what you want to have. So you can have any exterior color, any interior color combo you want, they will do it, which is so awesome to custom tailor to exactly what you want. But anyway, like I said, coming back, you have the center armrest, which is very nice and softly padded. Then you have a center cubby that's not the largest. It's fairly small, and you have this outdated phone adapter thing in here as well, which is somewhat useless, and I wish that was gone, so you just had all the space in there, but I'm sure you could request them to leave that out if you wanted to. And then otherwise, it's a nice large space there, and you also do have another power outlet in there too, which is great to have. Another thing, whenever you're hopping into the Ghost here, is they all have an umbrella in the door. That's a signature Rolls-Royce thing, to have the umbrella in the door, and it just pops out, and very handy, so you never get caught in a rainstorm unprepared. So very awesome to have that. Backseat space in the Ghost is so nice. It's just a wonderful place to be. One of the nicest backseats, I think, in the car industry, outside of the Phantom that Rolls-Royce also makes. But anyway, before you even get into that backseat, you have the coach-style doors. They don't call them suicide. They're coach-style doors there that open, the opposite of how they usually do in other cars. And so it gives you a nice wide opening there to easily and gracefully get into the backseat. And then you have that backseat, which is, again, another great place for a nap or just for relaxing. I mean, they have the massage, again, heating and cooling. They recline, and there's just so much space. Again, super soft seats. I'm 5'9". Me sitting behind myself, I have easily, I think, 7 or 8 inches there to spare. And whenever you're looking forward there, you'll see you have your own screens there. In this one, again, that's an option to have, and you can control the radio or whatever it is you want to control media-wise back there on those screens that are on both sides. You also have a little fold-out table that's very nice to have if you need to, sign some documents or whatever it is you want to do back there with a little desk. So yeah, I mean, it's just a really great place to spend time back there. You have, another fold down center armrest there that has all your controls for the media stuff, like I mentioned. And then you also have a center armrest there with a central cubby that has even more storage space. And then towards the front of that whole little console there, you have your 2 cup holders that gracefully pop out. And then you also have another pocket down below there, which has another ashtray. So great for those that still enjoy smoking. And yeah, but overall, it's just a really cool setup back there. Again, just so comfortable. You can recline it. You can just have the most relaxation possible. And also, this car has the Starlight Headliner, which is so cool. It's just a ton of little miniature lights that kind of glow, and they'll twinkle a little bit, and some will go out and come in, and it's just actually looks like the night sky when you're looking up at it, which is such a creative and awesome thing that Rolls-Royce came up with a couple of years ago. And I think that's one of the coolest things about these interiors, honestly. Again, it's just a bunch of lights in the ceiling, but it's just cool. It's just different. It's great. It's fun to look at. And I think stuff like that really helps us set it apart from the rest. And so just a nice little touch there as well. Another nice little touch. This one also has the optional champagne cooler in between the seats back there, and you can fit your champagne flutes in there very nicely. And yeah, it's pretty cool. You have a little mini fridge in the back of this thing too.
I was so impressed with the back seat that I actually forgot to talk about the trunk, which, as you can see, is a good size there. It's a little smaller than you might be expecting, and that's obviously because the Ghost prioritizes rear seat room over trunk space, but it's still a very usable trunk.
All right, so start up and go for a drive. The Rolls-Royce Ghost Black Badge has this very cool key. It has a little Spirit of Ecstasy there, and very heavy, a little thick, but just it's a very cool feeling key. And anyway, it's of course keyless entry and push button start. So you just leave the key in your pocket, hit the engine start button, and it quietly comes to life. All right, so setting off in the 2017 Rolls-Royce Ghost Black Badge. Well, man, this thing is so nice to drive. Just the first time you even step on the gas and pull away, it's just so smooth. It just does it in a different fashion from all the others. It's just like, you know you're in a Rolls-Royce. And I've driven the Wraith. I drove that last year, and I was really impressed with that. So I'm a little familiar with the way these drive, but it never gets any less impressive. It's still just like so nice. You don't even want to go fast. You don't want to like, you know, you just want to just cruise along. I mean, it's so quiet, you hardly hear anything. I mean, it's so buttery smooth. They call this the magic carpet ride for the suspension, and it totally fits. They say that they actually liken the ride to what it feels like whenever you're just starting to take off in an airplane, right as the wheels leave the ground, and that's kind of how it kind of whisks you along, and I totally believe it. It feels just like that. It's so wonderful to just cruise, and visibility is very good. You have a very long hood, but you have the Spirit of Ecstasy guiding your way, which is actually very helpful to help you kind of gauge where the nose is at, you know, right at the end there. So it's practical in addition to being super cool. I love hood ornaments, and I'm so glad that Rolls-Royce has continued on with the Spirit of Ecstasy here. View out of the sides is great too, you know, some pretty good sized windows there, and then view out of the back is also pretty good, even though it's pretty far back. The rear view mirror, you can still see everything. It doesn't feel like it's super far back there, so it's a great view out of the back as well. All right, so let's turn down onto this straight road here and see how it does. There's no sport mode in these, you just leave them in drive and go. So here we go. Wow. Okay, it does surge forward with authority. And then the brakes slow you down nicely as well. But all right, so the Rolls-Royce Ghost Black Badge has the same 6.6 liter twin turbo V12 engine that in this application though, you get an extra 40 horsepower over a standard Ghost here in the Black Badge. So this has 603 horsepower now, 620 pound-feet of torque. And if you want even more power, the Wraith version of the Black Badge actually I think has like 20 more horsepower and about 20 more pound-feet of torque than even that. So, you know, if you can have even more with the Wraith, which I guess is a little sportier here than the Ghost, but it's still nice to have that additional power. But it doesn't do it with any kind of fuss or drama. It has the 8-speed automatic in these, a ZF unit, but it's so smooth and refined here in the Rolls-Royce application that, you know, it's not jarring with any of the shifts. It's super smooth. There is no way to manual shift it. Again, they're like, this is still a cruiser. It's sportier for sure, but they haven't lost sight of the fact that it's a Rolls-Royce. And you know, you don't need to have paddle shifters or shift it yourself. You don't need a sport mode. Drive is sufficient, and that's all you do. And so I respect them for standing their ground like that. And as we're coming to a stop here, the brake pedal is you know, a little on the delicate side, but it's really great. You just give it a little bit of pressure there, and it gracefully gets you to a stop. And so it feels really nice. Another acceleration. You do hear the engine a little bit, some of the growl from it whenever you really get up and go, but otherwise you never really hear it. It's so refined. By the way, these things do 0 to 60 though in 4.6 seconds, so not, you know, slow or anything. You know, as Rolls-Royce usually likes to put it, it's sufficient. It's good. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, it's fast enough. Okay, you know, it's just that's kind of the approach. But I like that. You know, 4.6 seconds is still plenty quick. That'll, you know, keep up with a lot of fun sports cars these days. So you definitely have plenty of power here, and you would think that, you know, that high of a horsepower number, you would have something even faster than 4.6. But you have to keep in mind these things are heavy. This one, the Black Badge here at least, they weigh almost 5,500 pounds. They're like, I think this is 5,490 exactly. And so, I mean, it's a heavy vehicle. Yeah, it's heavier than most, you know, 3-row SUVs. Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Again, a Rolls-Royce is supposed to be heavy. It wouldn't feel right if it wasn't heavy. So again, you know, I mean, that's going to limit your cornering performance and stuff. But again, if you're buying a Rolls-Royce to, you know, attack a back road in, I mean, sure, you can do it in the Wraith. And that was fun whenever I reviewed the Wraith last year. It does handle well for what it is. But again, no one's going to pick it as their backroad scalpel. These things are all about just being comfortable. Other things to note here, driving the Ghost Black Badge. Well, we're on some back roads now, and there's some traffic, so I'm not able to really push it too much just yet. But I gotta say that, you know, even just going around some of these corners gingerly, you can really get a feel for the steering weight, which is really nice. It actually has a, you know, it's an isolated feel, but you do get some feeling through the steering wheel here, and it is communicative, you know, in a very refined way. But it does feel really good to use, and it has a nice weight to it. It's the type of weight that it feels substantial still, but it's light enough that, you know, I could probably do a couple of fingers and I can still steer it, you know, so it's pretty cool. But there's certainly some dead travel in the pedals here as you're, you know, going around corners. You push in the brake pedal about a third of the way before you actually start getting any kind of bite, really. But again, it's more of a relaxed setup, so I understand it. I'm not expecting it to be razor sharp. Same goes for the throttle response. It is certainly dulled over sportier vehicles, but again, it's part of the Rolls-Royce experience. But even on a rougher road like this, it still is just really quiet, and it feels like you're driving in a car that's $415,000. It's just, you know, it all fits. Everything is very appropriate. You know, nothing feels out of place or out of sorts. Everything as exactly how you would expect, I think, for a vehicle of this type. And another rolling acceleration here. I love how the front nose lifts up. And then we're going right into a corner here. And yeah, it actually, I mean, it does pretty decent for, you know, how heavy and large it is and how soft the suspension setup is. It's not a bad handler. Again, I'm not getting a chance to really push it a whole lot because of traffic and road conditions here. But I gotta say that it's doing a pretty good job. Again, this isn't a corner carver, and I don't think Rolls-Royce intends it to be. It's just a faster version of the Ghost here with the blacked out appearance. And it's certainly, I mean, it definitely feels quick. And I think it does feel a bit quicker than the Wraith that I even reviewed last year. Again, in cars like this, it's not super harsh, so it's hard to kind of discern. It's just like, okay, I'm going really quickly, and it's kind of the sensation you get with all the Rolls-Royces. None of them ever feel slow. They just, you have this giant surge and shove of power and torque that just kind of pushes you along, and that's about it. This, again, has a very different mission than a lot of the other cars out there, you know, that's competing against. But I think compared to, you know, some of the others that I have not driven, I think that, you know, Rolls-Royce is still just unmatched, and that's, you know, you don't have to drive the others to know, okay, it's a Rolls-Royce. Everyone else knows it's a Rolls-Royce, and, you know, just from being behind the wheel of it and from, you know, sitting in the back of it, I mean, it's just unmatched in every way. I mean, that's why they are, you know, so famous and so well known. Everyone knows this is really a special vehicle, and you feel like, you know, you're in a special experience whenever you're riding in it as well, whether it's in the front or in the back. I would love to just hang out in the back seat and be driven by someone, but it's fun to drive as well. And now we're just cruising at about highway speeds here, and it's still very quiet and refined, and this is where this thing really shines. You just cruise, it's a buttery smooth ride, just lean back, relax, and it's just wonderful, and just so refined. And yeah, it's just a great thing. One other thing I want to mention here before I go, there's this bespoke audio system this thing has, which is really sweet. And even with satellite radio, which isn't the best of sources, it still has so much bass, so much depth to the sound that it's just like really amazing to listen to. And I would love to spend more time, you know, with it, and, you know, put in an actual wired source to really get a good feel for how powerful it is. But as you can see me surging forward here, I love how the front end lifts up in these things, though, because of that soft suspension. It actually does add a little bit of drama with that. That's one thing I will say, although the rest of the whole experience is fairly undramatic. That is one part that it's like, okay, you're moving now, and it's fun. And yeah, I absolutely love this thing. It's fantastic. I mean, no, it's not a backroads carver. No, it's not really a performance car, really, in many regards as far as handling and stuff. It just has lots of power. It's certainly more of the daily driver, be driven in, relaxed kind of thing, and have something else as your, you know, crazy weekend backroads carver vehicle. And I think, obviously, if you're spending $415,000, you could probably spare some extra change for whatever sports car you'd like as well. So I don't think it's a problem for Rolls-Royce customers, and that's why they still focus on like, okay, you want more power, cool, but you still want the Rolls-Royce experience, and this still gives you the Rolls-Royce experience, uncompromised in any way, and just does it with more power and some more sinister looks. And I really love the formula, and it seems to be very popular already for Rolls-Royce, so that's great to see too. But anyway, huge thanks once again to Rolls-Royce for providing me with this Ghost Black Badge to review for you guys today. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about the Ghost Black Badge in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.